Hello again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another speed build video in The Sims 4. I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far and thank you so much for joining me here today. As you can see, we are building a family home today in Brindleton Bay on this 30 by 30 lot, and this family home has 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, a big back garden space, there is a greenhouse. Basically, whatever your sim family needs, this house has it. That was my goal with this house, to just sort of create this really wonderful, family-friendly, huge, I say huge, it's not huge, it's a really good size, 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. I suppose it depends how you want to look at it, could be huge or not, but I really love how this house turned out, and so I'm really hoping you all enjoy it as well, but you can see that we're currently working on the exterior structure here. I wasn't working from a reference image for this house. I just kind of sat down and just decided, look, let's see what my brain can come up with today, because fun fact, I actually built this yesterday and I finished building it today. So today is, what's the day today? It's Monday. So I finished building this today. And when I sat down to build yesterday, I tried to build, let me just think about this for a second. I tried to build 5 different things prior to starting this house and completing it and liking it. One of which was a little mermaid shack in Sulani. I tried to build, what else did I try to build? Another house in Brindleton Bay, but on a different lot, and it just didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to, so I bulldozed that. And then I can't even remember the other ones. It's almost like I've blocked them from my memory because it was such a traumatic time and experience for me, honestly. I was like, I just want to build something in The Sims. Is that too much to ask for? And honestly, up until I built this successfully, I was starting to think that that was the case. But thankfully, my brain decided to save the day and I ended up building this house that you're seeing here. Now, I had posted this on my post tab on YouTube, and someone had commented and said that they really love the exterior colour scheme, because I feel like it's not a colour scheme that I tend to go for typically, like this light grey roofing mixed with like a creamy beige paneling, and then obviously the pops of white as well, and then we do have the blue shutters that came with Horse Ranch sort of popping off on the exterior as well. So overall, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. And something else that I did decide to do, I switched out these windows. Now, provisionally, I put down these ones from Snowy Escape, and then as I was having a bit of a sift through, I found some different windows. So I use a bit of a combination of, I think I use some from Discover University, and then I use some from Life and Death randomly. So the windows on the bottom floor there, they are from Life and Death, and I don't think I've used them. I might have used them when I created my Life and Death builds at the back end of last year, maybe, but definitely not in the white swatch. And then on the upper floor, I think that's where the Discover University ones are. And then, like I said, paired them with the shutters from Horse Ranch. And I genuinely think it creates this really soft and sort of dreamy appearance. Although I did change the swatches of the shutters there, because currently they're the powder blue swatch, but I do change them out for the darker blue swatch. I just think they popped a little bit more and went a little bit better, with the overall colour scheme as well. So there is that. Now, one thing I have noticed, I don't know whether it's like a new thing or whether it's just something that's come to my attention recently, or it's something that's been present in the game the whole time, but can you notice like the flashing when I'm sort of like selecting things? The whole house seems to flash and light up. I do feel like that's definitely gotten worse in one of the recent updates, and I know there's a mod that you can download that stops that from happening. I just haven't had the opportunity, well, I have had the opportunity to put it in my game. I just keep forgetting every single time I load up my game, but it's like, it's really annoying. And I do feel like this is something that everyone's experiencing, but obviously when you are working and watching a speed build back, it definitely is more obvious because obviously the footage is sped back, so you can definitely see the flashing. But I suppose it is what it is. It's just a little bit irritating, that's all. But anyway, this is where we start working on the landscaping. I have spoken about this many times on the channel because I get asked this quite frequently, but people always ask me, like, why do I work on the front of the house and then not work on the back of the house? Like, next I'll finish the front, and it's a really simple thing for me to answer. It's because I want to make sure that I even like the house before I then move on to the back. There's nothing worse than when you're working on a build, you sort everything out, the floor plan, all the window placements, all the landscaping, and then you actually look at the build and you're like, ooh, I don't even like this. So I have to make sure that I like the build before I decide to work on the back of the build. I don't know if that makes sense. It definitely makes sense in my head, but I know a lot of other people don't work like I do, but it works for me. So I just thought I would address that, even though, like I said, I have mentioned it on the channel once or twice at least. Now, one thing I knew that I wanted to include with this build was the white picket fence, because it's something that I don't usually add to my builds. I'll usually just keep the front completely open, but I was like, nope, we're having a white picket fence. Typical sort of suburban moment with this house, and I'm so glad, honestly, I decided to do that. It just adds to the overall vibe, you know, and I am really liking how it's looking currently, but I do make a few very small changes off camera in terms of primarily the landscaping. I don't think anything else really changes other than I like size these bushes down at the front just so you can see a little bit more of that white picket fence that I was just talking about. I just think it overall looks a lot better. I love the swing set in the front garden here. I just think it gives that impression of like a really typical family friendly home, along with the two kids bikes as well. There's some hopscotch outside, as well as like the little marble circle, I suppose you could call it. I know it's made of chalk, but yeah, this little marble circle here as well. I absolutely love that. I did for a second think about adding an air conditioning unit to the property, and then I was like, no, I'm just not really feeling that. And then I do change out the tree here. I think I go to cottage living, yeah, and pull out some debug cottage living bits, because if you've been around the channel for a while, you'll probably know that cottage living, I think, in my humble opinion, of course, is one of the stronger like debug packs there is, especially for landscaping. That is, for landscaping, it's just really solid. And I'm going to be honest, Enchanted by Nature is exactly the same. I did think that, although I did make a comment when that pack came out, like I know it's literally just come out, and I'm like, the debug is so good, but why not add more of that to just the regular build by menu? Because unless you go sifting through the debug menu, you're not going to find any of that stuff, and I just think it's a little bit unfair, you know. I don't know, I'm just having another ramble. I'm sorry, I'm just having another ramble about the pack, but good pack overall, honestly. I haven't done any gameplay with the fairies or anything like that. I've just explored build and buy. It is a really solid pack for build and buy. I did say, I mean, I think I created in total, I think it was 3 different builds with the pack, and I had no issues whatsoever getting across that super like fantasy sort of feel for the builds. I do think I tried to say it in a really sort of fair way of, I wouldn't have expected, anything less from a fairy pack, honestly. I would have liked to see some of the items be a little bit more versatile. So for example, like obviously it's a fairy pack, so it's catered for fairies, right? But it would have been really nice if some of the items could be used in like a more of like a house like this, a typical family setting, as opposed to, oh well, I can only really use that in a fairy house. Now, one thing that I did, I don't know whether I've said it, but I'll definitely refer to them when we move on to the interior of the house, but I did use a few of the houseplants that came with Enchanted by Nature, because your Sims can now tend to houseplants, which I think was like a really nice element of gameplay that the team decided to add. So I did add a few of them inside, but we'll talk about them when we do move on to the interior. And honestly, the interior of this house it took me a little bit of time to get to where I wanted to be with it, but when I did get it, I really enjoyed the result, honestly. So I can't wait to show you the interior. I'm so thrilled with the exterior as well. It's good to be back, as I said at the beginning, building my family homes. It's my jam. They honestly, family homes are my jam, family apartments and things like that. As much as I adore building different things sometimes. So like I built a glass beach house a couple of weeks ago, which is something that I wouldn't have usually built, but we got the glass wallpaper. I'm doing the Air Bunnies wallpaper update, so I wanted to build something with that. And then obviously, as I was saying, I built like 3 fairy builds and stuff, and it was just like, it just feels so good to be building my family homes again. And I did say that this year I wanted to try and embrace summer a little bit more, because summer is just not my favourite season at all. I hate being warm. I hate being sweaty. I hate it. There's no redeeming qualities for it for me. I'm an autumnal winter girly through and through, but primarily autumn. Autumn is just like, it's the best season ever. It's the best season ever. But what I was going to say was, on the channel, I have been doing more like summer themed builds. I don't know if anyone's even noticed, but I'm definitely trying to embrace summer a little bit more this year. But you know me, I love my autumnal builds, and autumn on the channel is very special. if you're new here, I tend to go all out during the autumnal and winter season. So if you've got any build ideas, then please let me know. I have been considering doing over Forgotten Hollow for quite some time, so if you want me to do something like that, or there's any build challenges that you want me to try and do, like autumnal build challenges or anything like that, please just let me know. But yes, as I said at the beginning, this house does have a greenhouse, so that is what I'm currently working on here. I did contemplate using the new glass wallpapers, and then I was like, well, we got the Greenhouse Haven kit as well, so I decided to use that instead. I just think it looks a little bit more of like a greenhouse when you use the Greenhouse Haven kit, you know, like we've got all the pieces and all the windows and all the doors and stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, this works just fine. I also decided to add some planter boxes outside the greenhouse as well as inside, and then I did add these little beehives as well, so that your bees can sort of help with the gardening. I thought it would be nice if one of the parents was just really into their gardening, like maybe they either do it as a profession or just like a hobby, but they've definitely maxed out the gardening skill at this point, or they're at least very close to doing so, because obviously, like, if you've got a greenhouse in your back garden, then I think it's safe to say that you really enjoy gardening. So I was like, okay, well, I thought it'd be like a nice little idea. It seems like it's been a while since I've built a greenhouse. It's been at least a couple of years, and so I just thought it would be something just a little bit different for one of my houses to have. We've also got like a little barbecue here, as well as that little cooler. I want to say it's from For Rent, that cooler, completely randomly. I just thought it was a nice addition to the back garden. We've of course got a little seating area that's under an umbrella, which I thought was a really nice idea as well. I love adding like seating areas and things to builds. I don't know, like summer and spring out here in this garden, like the barbecue's on, the family's all together, maybe they're throwing a party or something. I just thought it'd be super fun. And then we move on to the interior, and this is where we start trying to lay out the floor plan. It took me a little bit of time to try and work out where I wanted which room, because as you can see, the downstairs is quite large, probably larger than I had realised. And then I also realised that the upstairs was also quite a bit bigger, so that actually ends up being 4 bedrooms and a bathroom up there just for the kids. So all the kids have their own floor, they have access to their own bathroom, and then the main bedroom I decided was going to be on the ground floor, which I thought was a really nice idea. And the main bedroom has also got its own ensuite, which is a really good size. And then this is when I decided that I wanted the colour scheme to be really quite modern, but not like too modern. I think it's got this house on the interior has a really nice mix of modern and traditional items that sort of help it just have this really homey, cozy vibe. And I absolutely adore that about this house. I also added a lot of blue because I think I was unintentionally inspired by my own house in real life when I was building this house and decided to decorate it, because my house in real life, if you're not aware, we do have a lot of blue in our house. We definitely made that decision when we moved in. We were like, let's just make everything blue. And honestly, I would not have it any other way. I adore, like, it's like a really, really deep royal blue that we've decided to go for in our house. And I definitely, I wouldn't have it any other way. We adore blue. So, as I said, I think unintentionally inspired by perhaps my own decor in my own house for this build in The Sims, which I thought was quite nice, actually. It definitely felt quite familiar, which was nice. And I think as well with this house, I think the family, they're quite hip and trendy, and they're quite young. I think the parents, of course, have, let me try and work out how many kids they've got. 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got 5 kids. And then the family dog, 2, because I did decide to put a pet bowl in the kitchen, which I often overlook, but I did do that with this house. I don't think the parents are old at all. I think they've definitely got a young sort of vibe. I think they're both very successful in each of their professions too. Their eldest child is a teenager, but I think they had him when they were quite young. And then they had, let me try and work this out. So they've got a teenager. They've then got like quite a young son who's a child age. They've got twin daughters who I think are about to become teens, and then they do have an infant as well. So there's definitely quite a broad range of ages in this house, but I definitely wanted that to come across with the decor style and obviously the family dynamic too, because it just offers a little bit of, when you're building and decorating a house for a particular family dynamic, specifically a family dynamic that you have in mind and you know that you want to aim for, it definitely helps with like what you're going to put in each room. So for example, like this is the living room of the house. There aren't toys absolutely everywhere, but there's definitely a hint or a couple of hints that there are kids in this house. It's just that the parents, I don't think they're strict. It's just that the kids know, well, we can't just believe in our stuff everywhere. Like the kids just know. So yeah, so there's a few pieces here, there and everywhere throughout the house, but it's not one of my typical or standard family houses that I've done historically where they're super colourful and there's like kid stuff in every single one of the rooms. This is definitely, it just has a different vibe to it, and I really love that about this house. It just meant that I was able to sort of explore a different decor style, first of all, a different colour palette, which I loved. I really love the fact that this house has a colour palette that flows throughout the entire house, much like my house in real life. My house in real life, I'll have to do a tour one day and upload it to the channel so that you guys can actually see it, but all the rooms sort of flow into one another. So if you're walking around, it has this really nice flow and just, yeah, I love that. And this house in The Sims has that exact same look and feel, and I do. I love that about it. This living room turned out so nicely. Does it match perfectly? No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. Like the bluey teal on the walls doesn't match the blue throw pillows and the blue curtains, for example. But there's definitely a sense of there's a theme. I hope that makes sense. Then I decide to work on the main bedroom. So the parents have their own space on the ground floor, which I really liked. I think it made the most sense to have the parents down here as opposed to upstairs, and it just means that the kids have their own entire floor just to themselves. I can imagine that the parents are like, oh, we need to escape to our oasis here. So this is probably where they come to relax to get away from the chaos. But this room is very simply decorated, I would say, at least for me. some people may think that this isn't too simply decorated, but I definitely held back with this room because, again, I wanted it to be a sanctuary. I wanted it to be a calming, relaxing space where the parents can just come to and just take a breather, take a second before they have to go and be parents again, if that makes any sense. I can imagine as a parent, I'm not a parent myself, but I can imagine as a parent, you need that space to just escape to as and when you need to, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's human nature to just want to take a breather. So that's what this room is for these Sims, which is great, and I'm so glad that I included that for them. Now, one thing that I am noticing about this house, just looking back at the footage, is that each and every single room in this house is such a good size. So for gameplay, this house is so ideal. Not at any point are you and your Sims going to feel cramped or like the space is closing in on you, because each of the rooms are very, very generously sized. Even down to the bathrooms. Sorry, apart from the bathroom on the top floor, which literally just has a toilet, a sink and a shower in it, but it's functional. Because it was important for me to put a bathroom upstairs. If I hadn't have put a bathroom upstairs, I do think the kids would have struggled on a morning, like getting ready for school, etc. So I was like, I'll just pop a little bathroom up there. But there's also 2 further bathrooms on this bottom floor as well, including this ensuite. So 3 bathrooms total and 5 bedrooms. If I had have just put in 2 bathrooms with a 5-bed house, I do feel like people would have come for me. And I wouldn't have blamed you, honestly, because I can't imagine playing with a family of 7 Sims plus the family dog and not having enough bathrooms. Like, there's nothing worse. But this bathroom, let's just talk about this for a second, because looking back, when I was doing this, I was like, not only have I used life and death windows on this property just to give it that really elegant, fancy feel, I also use this bathtub. This is from Life and Death as well. Like, hello, hi bathtub, hi fancy bathtub, how are you? Like, this bathroom is so fancy. Again, just wanted it to be that oasis space for these parents. I even added fairy lights in here as well, so if they want to take a bubble bath and just have a little bit of a pamper night, then they absolutely can do that. And it's such a wonderful space. I never give myself this much room for a bathroom, so I did feel like I'd spoiled myself just a little bit here, which is really funny when I say it out loud. But these are the little fairy lights that I decided to add. These are the ones from Businesses and Hobbies, and I haven't really used them since that pack came out. I think I tried to use them in the tattoo parlor that I built. Wow, when did that pack come out now? It must have been a few months ago at this point. But yeah, I was like, I just need to add fairy lights in here. And then, so that's the right hand side of the house done. And then we work on this entrance here. I've done a RachelPedd classic. Yes, I know. You walk in, the stairs are there. And then I've done a double like hallway, as it were. Look, my brain can't not do this. I even tried off camera before I even started on the floor plan. I tried to put the stairs somewhere else entirely, and my brain just went, no, what are you doing? You can't do that. I'm so jealous when I see creators do, like, the L-shaped stairs, or the stairs that sort of come in on themselves and they're nowhere near the entrance. And I'm like, how do you pull that off? Whenever I try and do that, it just looks completely ridiculous. I'm so jealous of creators that are able to do that. Please teach me your ways. But until then, I'm afraid you are stuck with me and this, whatever this situation is. It's just, look, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Anyway, I did not know what to do with this space. I'm just going to put my hands in the air now. And I think you can probably tell that I didn't know what to do with this space because it's very sparsely decorated. There's barely anything in here. And what is in here, it's... I don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I did clutter up the bookcase though. I was quite proud of myself because usually, particularly for some reason it is with bookcases, I tend to just put them down and then forget that they have slots on that you're meant to put stuff on. And more often than not, I'll just go, oh, yep, bookcase is down, let's forget about it, and then I'll just move on to the next thing. But I did not do that here, so I was quite impressed, quite proud of myself. And then we move on to the kitchen, again, continuing with the blue theme. This is the kitchen dining room. Sorry, I should have maybe made that a little bit clearer. It's a very big room. Again, with the colour scheme coming through there, love it. I did use these base game counters. Let's just ignore the fact that I accidentally deleted the entire room there for just a second. Look, sometimes I slip. Sometimes my hand slips, and sometimes I delete the rooms. I don't know, does anybody else do that? They must do. There must be other people that do that when they're building in The Sims. Please, drop me comments down below. Where are you? If you're there, like, just make me feel better. Just lie to me. It's okay. Anyway, yeah, kitchen came together really quite quickly, actually, which did surprise me because I tend to, I don't know what the word is here. I tend to like nitpick with my kitchens more often than not, especially if I can't get the clutter right and stuff. So, but with this, I think the clutter came pretty easily, and I have said this on the channel once or twice before, the new kitchen clutter kit, chef's kiss, chef's kiss. Honestly, it comes in so handy. The amount of times that I sit there and I go, oh, I don't know, what can I put here? And then I remember that we've got the kitchen clutter kit, and I just go to kitchen clutter, click on it, and then just pull out all these items. It's just not even funny. Although something that I have noticed, and I don't know whether I'm misspeaking here, but the items from that kit don't seem to be, please forgive me if I'm saying something incorrect here. I'm just trying to have a look through the catalogue here. You can't seem to find like, some of the items are there, but some of them aren't. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. It's probably just a me thing, right? Probably. Like this little mug tree. How cute is that? These little cereal holders, like, and the cookie jar. And I think your Sims can use the cookie jar to take food out of, if I'm not mistaken. The little oven mitts. Like, are you kidding me? Are we seeing this? Like, those oven mitts. Hello? I think I went a little bit overboard with the clutter, considering the rest of the house isn't overly cluttered. I think looking back, I would maybe tone it down just a little bit to make sure it fits in with the rest of the house, you know? But I think I'm probably being a little bit too nitpicky there, to be honest. It's fine. And then we work on the dining area, dining room, I suppose you could call it. So I think this is potentially where the Sims probably hang out the most. You know, this is where they have all of their meals, whether it comes to like just a dinner on an evening, or like birthdays, Winterfest, Harvest Fest, all that stuff. Like, everything happens in this room. Every single thing happens in this room. And I also loved using this like shelving unit from the, is it Refined Living Room kit? Oh, it's so nice. Like, if I have the space to use this, you'd best believe I'm using it. It's so pretty. And then I did add quite a few of those pictureless frames from Growing Together around the house, because I do think this family is quite big on taking family pictures and having them hung up in the house. So obviously I did not put any photographs in there, because that would be a little bit weird. Like, your Sims move in and then there's just like random Sims pictures in the frame. So I'll leave that for you guys to do. And then we just finish up with some final touches on this little area of the dining room. I didn't know what else to put here, and I am aware that I used this side table in the entrance, but I do end up changing the swatch of this one to the like paler wood to kind of try and match the dining table and the chairs just a little bit better, and then it means it's slightly different from the one in the entrance. And I think that makes more sense. And then it took me a little while to try and figure out what I wanted to put on that wall. I'm not entirely sure why, but I did also add a wall light on there as well, because I do use some of these like black wall lights / sconces throughout the house. So I just wanted to make sure that I was using the same ones throughout. And then we work on the downstairs bathroom. So this is a downstairs bathroom / laundry room. So there's a washing machine in here. There's also a dryer in here as well. So I tried to put in, and I'm pretty sure I put in every single one of the bedrooms. I'm pretty sure I put in a laundry basket in each and every one. I'm hoping I did, because it's already on the gallery. So if I didn't, I do apologize. But let's take a look when we end up going upstairs, and let's see if I actually managed to successfully remember to put laundry baskets in the bedrooms. Fingers crossed I did. But yeah, just adding some final touches to this room. I didn't want to overly clutter the space, just because we had like so much room. That doesn't mean to say that like each and every inch should be covered, you know? So I think we just leave it at this. Oh, of course, we had like a little towel next to the sink, of course, that your Sims can just give their hands a dab. And then we move on to the upper floor. So the first bedroom that we work on is for the infant. Now, it's quite pastely and quite... I did cater this for a baby girl. So it can easily be changed if you need to. So if the family that you're moving in here, maybe they don't even have an infant, maybe they have a toddler or a child, like you can just swap out some of the items or whatever. But yeah, I wanted to make this for a baby girl, so I went quite floral, quite pastel-y. Again, the room's a really good size. There's a rocking chair in here, there's a little bookcase. There's also a tummy time mat from the... oh no, what's the kit called? I'm terrible with kit names because we've got so many kits. I can't remember them all, but that tummy time play mat is from... is it the kit that SixMCC worked on? I feel like it is. It was an incredible kit. Like, we needed something to like cater around nurseries, and they served with that. Like, it's so good. But yeah, I often forget the names of the kits. I'm so sorry. That's really quite ignorant of me. I do apologize. But because the room's quite a difficult shape, just because of the bump outs on the back of the house, I think I kind of struggled just a little bit with placement of items, like where to put them, which items do I put here, which ones are going to be functional. And then I don't know if I make any amendments off camera to this particular room. Oh, did I? If I did, they were very minor things. I can't remember. I had these little towels, I shimmy them over, and then what do I end up doing here? Oh yeah, I put this little rug down. I thought that was cute. I definitely had a little bit of a mix around with that room. And then we work on the teen room. Now, I am including in the footage here my first attempt at this bedroom, because I was initially going to have this as a child's bedroom, and then I decided against it. So this is my first attempt at it. As you can see, I'm a little bit all over the place, and then I just remove everything, and then I'm like, right, no, I want this to be a teen room. So I'm so sorry, my throat just gargled then as well. Oh my goodness. I feel like because my office is quite warm at the moment. Well, no, it's not even quite warm. It's incredibly warm at the moment. I am having to stop, take breaks, sip some water, cool myself down, and then start recording again. So as it currently stands, I think I've got about 12 clips of the voiceover currently on my video editing software. So because I'm drinking water, I do feel like sometimes my throat is gargling just a little bit. So I'm really sorry if you heard that, and you probably did, so that's why I thought I'll mention it, because I do apologise. It's one of those things, unfortunately, that happens, especially in this heat when you have to keep cool. But anyway, yeah, I think if I had to answer, this is definitely my favourite bedroom of the entire house. I love how it looks. I love the colour scheme. Well, I say colour scheme, it doesn't really have a colour scheme. It's more like light woods mixed with blues and greens and blacks, and then like pops of colour in the posters and stuff. You know, it's so nice. I love the whole layout of it. I like the fact that the bed's against a dresser. I thought that added some nice sort of detailing, and I also feel like the layout of it does feel a little bit different compared to other teen rooms that I've perhaps decorated in the past. I don't know whether you'll agree or disagree with that, but I think for me it has a different feel to it, and I really liked it. I did decide that this teen is perhaps starting to get into streaming and or content creation, so I gave them like a little mini like startup streaming setup, which I thought was nice. Maybe they have a podcast, or they run a website or a blog or something like that. But I really liked the idea for this teen. Maybe they like writing. I think they like sports a little bit. I think they have a wide variety of interests, just as I think most teenagers do. I think that's pretty common for teenagers and children to have obviously more than one interest. So I wanted to try and get that all across within this one space. So hopefully I achieve that is what I was trying to say. I also decided to add like these skis with the outdoor like coats and hats and scarves and stuff, because maybe they've been skiing with their friends or something, and again it's just another activity that they're like really into, so they've decided to like keep some of that attire up. I thought that was a really nice idea, and to be completely honest, I was thinking if I add like more posters, it's just gonna look like a little bit one-dimensional on that wall. So I like to mix up like posters with then like 3D items. I would class as 3D items that sort of come out of the wall a little bit more. And then we move on to the twin girls' bedroom. I did say that the teens' room was my favourite, but this is definitely my second favourite. It was a really close call because this room ends up being really cute. I adore these beds. I believe they're from Dream Home Decorator, and I also added quite a few items from the high school years pack, because I think whilst these two are children, I think they're not super close to becoming teens, but if I were to say like what their ages are, I would say they're like maybe 11 or 12 years old, like in real life. And so I wanted to get that across in like with some of the decor, the overall colour scheme, and then of course the items as well. So it's quite like youthful and young, but you can tell they're not super young Sims. I hope that makes sense, and I do hope that comes across. And then again, because it's such a good sized room, I did struggle just a little bit with which items and what items I should be putting in here. I was also very aware that I needed to make sure that they matched the overall room. And one thing that I did think helped, and this is going to sound a little bit weird, but I feel like for the last few kids' rooms that I've decorated, I've put like appropriate wallpaper on the wall, and then I've had to tone back the decor because it's felt a little bit much and a little bit overwhelming. Whereas with this room, I just used the paneling that we were using downstairs, and then that meant I was able to sort of use some of the more colourful items in the room. And I just think that helped with the overall look and the overall aesthetic of the room. And I think it works really, really well, actually. And I did that with all of the kids' rooms apart from the infants' room, because I think, well, I don't really know why they decided to, or I decided to wallpaper that room. Maybe you could intertwine some sort of fun storyline, or if you weren't keen on the wallpaper, like you could just switch it out for like the paneling that we've been using in the other bedrooms. I don't know why I'm overthinking it so much. Like, that's so not like me, right? I'm kidding, by the way. I'm like the world's worst overthinker. So that's that room done, and then I very quickly decorate this one and only bathroom up here. I told you it was small, and it certainly is, but it's the most important thing is that it is a functional space, and your Sims can come in here and do what they need to do, and that's it. Like, I could have turned this into like a home office or something, but why would you do that when we have 4 kids on this upper floor? 5 kids. Sorry, not 4 kids. 5 kids on this upper floor. You need a bathroom up here. I'm just saying. And then we work on the final bedroom here. So this is for the young boy who, I'd say he's maybe like in real person age, maybe 9 or 10, something like that. Definitely younger than his twin sisters, I would say, but he does have this room all to himself, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I definitely went with quite a heavy blue and red theme in here, but I do think it works. And I did want to add decorative pieces in here that sort of alluded to the fact that he is younger than his sisters. And I think I did that ish. Again, such a big room, and such a big room for one Sim, especially one child. So the bed felt a little bit lost at first, and then I did struggle just a little bit with like what to put where. But I did find the longer I worked on this room, the more comfortable I got, like with the colour schemes and like the overall just aesthetic and everything else that I wanted to go on in here. I did definitely get a lot more comfortable, which was really, really nice. So there's again plenty of things for this sim to do in here. I think he's quite artistic, so I did give him his own little drawing table here, which I thought was so adorable. It's the same one that we have downstairs, but I'm pretty sure the one downstairs was the white swatch. I think maybe he's also dabbling in some like computer games and also some like music, so perhaps some like musical instruments and things like that. I also added like the little, oh help me, what's it called? What's that thing above the drawing table called? Oh no, I've completely forgotten that. You know what I mean, like the circular red and white thing that's on the side of boats, and they help people at sea. Oh my goodness. Just tell me in the comments down below what it is, because I'm gonna completely forget. Anyway, so yeah, I added that up there as well, just because, well, why not? And then obviously I forgot that I didn't add a mirror in this room, so I had to add a mirror. And then I just popped some more posters and things on the wall. And then I do realise that I had forgotten to give him a laundry basket, but so far so good. I think all the Sims have their own laundry basket. So that's good news. So usually I forget at least one bedroom, and then I did decide to switch out that base game rug for these rugs here, like this collection of rugs, which I just think works a lot better. And then lastly we work on the greenhouse, and then that is it for this video. So I really hope you enjoyed this, but if you would like to download this house, it's available from the gallery right now. My origin ID is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box just below. You can get them from SimFileShare. But thank you so much everyone for joining me here today. You all take care, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye!